Okay, Aaron, this lesson will be fairly brief today, and I apologize, but the reason for that is I do want to get out and walk a bit. It's a nice, cool day, and I still need to work pretty hard to get off some of those pounds that I took on during the COVID lockdown restrictions, and they're coming off, but slowly. So I do want to get out there and do some walking in the mountains here in Fort Defiance. Um, but I didn't want to overlook this image because it bears so much upon what we've been talking about in terms of seeing as, and in terms of contexts, and in terms of the type of context that inform the way that we see as. All right, so what this is an image of is an image of an earth formation that is called round rock, and it's a formation that an area where I used to live is named for. So this area is called Round Rock. Now, I lived on the other side of this particular formation. And so if I were to look out of the window of my home, there, the apartment that I had in Round Rock, I would have seen this view, which you can't, there are two formations. There's this one in the foreground and this one in the background, but you can see that the little jutting figures of earth here that have eroded over time appear, from a different angle, so on a different side. This is what I would have seen, and this image isn't one that I took, but it's an image of a young child at Easter time with an Easter basket searching for Easter eggs. Let's see if we can find any. There's one right there. There's another one. All right, so these Easter eggs have been placed, and they look to me, I can't really tell, but they look to me like they may be plastic Easter eggs that contain some kind of candy or other surprise. But I can't really tell if these are dyed eggs or not. And one of the reasons that you would prefer plastic eggs out here is because depending on how much time they spend in the Round Rock sun, they might not be too great once they're discovered. But this, and I can't really tell if this is a young man. I believe, oh yeah, you can tell by the way that the braid is done that this is a young man, and it looks like he's very eager to gather these eggs. All right, now this image taken from this side as a kind of way of seeing as is very different from this one, and the intelligent entity that sent us this image today probably recognizes that, because I have both images on my my list of images that can be selected by intelligent entities and that will appear for the day on my desktop in my picture selection. so that communications can be made that either refer to that image or that refer to this image. And one of the key elements in looking at from the two different perspectives of this particular rock is that there's a traditional cultural way of depicting this rock, and it's from this angle, not the other angle. So in terms of seeing it versus seeing as, someone that didn't know this information, say a Biligana who is new to the culture. Now, in the instance of taking the picture of the young man, that's a different issue, because that's a personal marker. But someone, fashioning this image as icon of Round Rock, and doing it the other way, that is with this this spire formation on the right instead of the left as it is here, would betray a lack of familiarity with the way that this particular rock is depicted within the Dene culture as an icon from this perspective. So if you're going to paint this rock, and you wanted to paint it as a symbol of a certain place, an idea that belongs to a tradition of myths and storytellings about figures, cultural figures, say the hero twins or other figures in traditional Navajo culture, you would paint it from this perspective, right? So this is, knowing this creates an ability to see as, seeing as, right? Seeing as someone who knows the significance of certain stories and tales and ways of depicting space that belong to a long cultural tradition, as opposed to seeing as an individual who arrived the other day and took a snapshot. It could have been an accident. We don't know who, I don't know, someone knows who took this particular photo, and they may just have accidentally taken it from the culturally significative perspective and gotten the image correct. It's possible, but in any case, it is certainly defined for a Navajo viewer as a kind of seeing as, right? Whether the author of the photograph, the photographer, the artist, the one who saw, recognized it as a seeing as or a mere seeing a. So from the perspective of the viewer, the knowing viewer, having a broader context of the iconography of the image, it doesn't really matter what the author knew, right? What the if the author imagined, this is me, a tourist, seeing a rock, it would still be taken, depending upon the context of the viewer, as a certain kind of seeing as. And that points to another context that we want to discuss, in the future, which is how the reading of an artwork is, partly inscribed by the author of the maker or the creator of that artwork, but that because these other contexts exists, it can't be entirely deployed or divorced of these outside contextual constructs, meanings and symbols and modes of depicting, no matter what that author or that artist's intention is. And so it's best that the author or the artist or the intender know as much about the way that images are constructed and carry meanings based in these contexts as possible. And with that, Aaron, I think we'll stop for the day because I really want to get out and take a walk.